Okay, hello once again, and we're going to continue the discussion on the theories of how advertising works. And reminder that we are using the book Advertising Age by Thorson and Duffy. And this is a book that's published by the Advertising Age magazine or professional journal, and you can get it used for very little money, and you could rent it, and I hope that you will get the book and follow along in the book as we have these discussions. So some additional persuasion theories, leaving off from the last time. The elaboration likelihood model. I tell you, this covers a lot of ground, and to discuss this in a brief kind of relatively superficial way is not easy. But primarily what we're interested in, the aspect of it that we're interested in here, is that the elaboration likelihood model distinguishes between two routes to persuasion. So basically two ways of attempting to persuade someone. There is the central route, which is considered to be rational and is based on facts, and the peripheral route, which is considered to be more emotional and sensory, appealing to the eyes, to the ears, to the senses in some way. And this varies according to the product and the individual. I have a video on this, which I think does a pretty good job of explaining it. I'm just going to show you the first couple of minutes, but I think this will be helpful in explaining this model, this theory, the elaboration likelihood model.
Let me ask you something. Did you ever find yourself in a situation, let's say, in a debate with a friend or a colleague, when as a reaction to your smart arguments and brilliant improvisation, you receive something like, "Yeah, whatever," from the opponent, or from the audience? Or, when you presented an idea to your colleagues, an idea that you were proud of, an idea that you worked on for the entire month. But the presentation wasn't taken seriously, and instead, your presentation was praised, or maybe even criticized, for the slide's design. How could your listeners miss the point? How could they focus on something so unimportant instead? It's like if there is a wall of skepticism, or indifference, or cognitive laziness, that you cannot break through, even with the strongest arguments, and the most reliable sources. The challenge is, to make your audience focus on your message, to try to understand your point, to actually give your ideas a thought. There is a theory, called by a fancy name, elaboration likelihood model, that says the following. When you convey an idea that you want to be accepted by an audience, your message will either be processed carefully, or it will be processed superficially. When people actually make a cognitive effort to follow your thoughts, to understand your points, we call this cognitive process a central route. Otherwise, the cognitive process is called peripheral route. What is the chance that the audience will carefully elaborate on your message? What is the chance that they won't? And, in any case scenario, what difference does it make for you? This is exactly what the elaboration likelihood model is meant to explain.
Okay, we're going to stop at that point. I hope you will go through and watch the rest of that. It's only about another 3 minutes or so to watch the rest of that video. But I think you can also see how this relates to some of the theories that we were talking about last time. High involvement, low involvement, rational thought, or superficial thought. So it's very closely related to that. And it's then going to matter what kind of product you have, and also maybe what you think the tendency of your audience would be as to how you would create advertising to be successful, depending on the elaboration likelihood model. Again, we're talking here about theories of why advertising works, or also why it does not work. So this is a helpful theory. There's a lot more to it than what we've discussed, but that at least gets us somewhat familiar with it. Some other ideas under the category of persuasion. Research shows liking an advertisement itself distinguished from the brand, is the strongest predictor of how well the ad will sell the product. We have talked a little bit about this already. I told you we'd come back to this idea of liking the advertisement. It's important that the advertising be likable. Now again, who's the audience? And one audience is going to like something and another audience is not going to like that. But liking, if we can make the audience like the advertisement, quite separate from the brand or the product, then the ad is likely to be successful. Liking is a better predictor of success than next day recall. Did the next day recall is a test. Obviously, someone who viewed an ad is tested the next day, and did they remember the ad? But liking is considered a better predictor of success than recall. Combinations of emotions, for example, happiness and sadness. I'm sure you've seen commercials, and certainly you've seen television programs or movies where you felt both happy and sad within the telling of the story in the show or the movie. But combinations of emotions have a very high impact on consumers. So if you can strike more than one emotional chord, then you have a good chance of success. Nostalgia is especially strong, and especially strong combined with other emotions. And you do see a lot of advertising that plays on nostalgia. And we all tend to look back at our childhood and times gone by, and with very positive feelings. Now, not everyone does, and not every situation is one that we look back with happy memories, but nostalgia is a very powerful thing and can be used very effectively in advertising, and I know that you have seen that. Humor is an emotion, and it is a powerful emotion, but humor here is considered to be an emotion. And your textbook gave a very good example. It said when Bud Light changed from a humorous campaign, Real Men of Genius, to a rational approach, drinkability, it lost sales. So let's look at an example of each one of those. Real Men of Genius, first of all, using a humorous approach. Both of these really use humor to some extent, but Real Men of Genius is much more oriented toward humor.
Budweiser presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Really Bad Toupee Wearer.
Mr. Really Bad Toupee Wearer.
More than any neon sign or exploding scoreboard ever could, your chrome dome cover says, "Hey guys, look at me."
What could you be thinking?
You think it looks natural, but it couldn't look phonier if it had a chin strap.
Look at you.
Made of space-age fibers, it can repel anything. Rain, wind, snow, and especially young women.
I don't think so.
So crack open an ice cold Budweiser, Mr. Stud in a Rug. Then crack open another for that thing on your head.
I don't think it's all straight.
So that is the Real Men
Budweiser
of Genius campaign from a number of years ago. Very successful campaign. Now again, here with Bud Light, they're really not selling the beer so much as they are promoting likability of the product. That you leave that commercial with a positive feeling about Bud Light because you enjoyed the commercial. Then they went to a more rational approach. Again, this does still use humor, but it's a more rational approach, and it was not as successful.
Hey man, what kind of light beer do you want?
Whatever, they all taste the same.
Hold on!
They all taste the same. Does bathwater taste the same as spring water? Does a carrot stick taste the same as a stick? Stick. Does ground beef taste the same as beef on the ground? Bottom line, there is a difference. And Bud Light has it. It's called drinkability. That just right taste. Not too heavy, not too light. Bud Light. The difference is drinkability.
All right, so that is a more rational approach. Humor is still part of it. and but it's more rational. And it directly speaks more so to the beer itself, but it was not as successful as the purely humorous and very off the wall kind of approach there of real men of genius. Humor has another advantage, and that is that it reduces counter arguing. If you are amused, you are less likely to argue back against the commercial. So that's another advantage of humor. But humor can distract from the message, and I'm sure you have seen examples of that where you saw a commercial on television and it was funny, but you don't remember what it was promoting, what was the product that they were selling, and you can't remember. So humor must be integrated into the brand message. It's important that not only the viewer be amused and entertained and find the commercial funny, but also understand what it was selling. A good example in your textbook, the Thorson Duffy text, gives an example of Fiber One cereal, and there's other Fiber One products, as a good example of how humor is used to convey a serious message. Fiber is important to your health, but Fiber One had the problem in that the image of fiber cereals that contained a good deal of fiber, or other foods that contained a good deal of fiber, the consumer may think fiber tastes like cardboard. Well, Fiber One came up with a way to address that.
That's her fourth free sample.
And I still can't taste the fiber.
Yeah, what's the deal? Fiber One yogurt. This is too good to be fiber.
It's too creamy to be fiber.
May I be of assistance?
Yes, I've tried all of these yogurts, and there's no fiber in any of them.
Actually, there is. It's on the box.
So we gotta eat the box to get the fiber?
20% per serving.
She's almost had a whole day's worth already.
Fiber One yogurt from Yoplait.
And you saw the line there: cardboard, no; delicious, yes. And then here's another one, same campaign.
Fiber One honey clusters, rusted treated wheat. Oh, Mommy's favorite caramel delight. But she says it tastes too good to have fiber.
Fiber One's high fiber.
Isn't that a lie?
No.
Yes, it is.
Is not.
You know, you're pathological.
What?
You're pathological.
Truthfully, they're at least a third of a day's worth of fiber. Besides, if he were a liar, his pants would be on fire.
Good point. Thank you.
They're not, are they?
No.
Fiber One, cardboard no, delicious yes.
So again, cardboard, no; delicious, yes. But they're using humor, and again, humor is considered to be an emotion to sell the product and to make to convey really a serious health message. The textbook says this is a textbook example of combining emotion, humor, with a selling proposition. Theories for the digital age. Does advertising for the internet, for cell phones, iPads, require new advertising theories? And Thorson and Duffy say, we doubt it. The theories we've discussed handle channel changes without a problem. In other words, the theories will work whatever channel they may be used in, whether it's television, radio, print, online, what have you. They believe that the theories are still good and do not need to be rethought. So you're still delivering a message in very much the same way, whatever channel, whatever medium it may be that you're using to convey that message. So thanks. We'll leave this discussion here and pick up with a new one next time, and we'll see you then.